welcome everybody to another isolation edition of the CGA podcast. Here with my man Nick Danes once again, and also back once again with us, special guest Rob Barker, aka Panda, aka Panda's Odyssey. How are you, man? So I've had a question.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do the One Punch Man workout?
Oh, that the cinema punch, the cinema challenge.
Yeah.
The 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, and 10K every day. Yeah. So when I first started doing push-ups challenge that we talked about last time, people, as a joke, kept bringing that up, like, "Hey, you should do that challenge."
Yeah.
And I mean, still in lockdown, still have time to go. The 30-day challenge of doing all those thousands of push-ups went by.
Are you a fan at all?
Yeah, like I watched the anime and I thought it was hilarious. Right?
Awesome, Nick,
yeah.
Nick, do you watch it?
No.
I'll give you a quick lowdown. Basically, do you ever watch like Dragon Ball Z or anything like that when you? Is that a different generation?
No. I never watched any Dragon Ball Z, I have to say.
No, well, One Punch Man, basically, he done exactly that workout. So what is it? 100 push-ups.
Yeah, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10K run every day.
Every day, and he basically becomes the strongest man in the world, and he destroys monsters and everything with just one punch. But the problem is he's bored out of his mind because no one's close to his power. So he just mills around doing what he wants, but he's just bored out of his mind. It's brilliant. It's really fun.
Apart from when he does his 100 push-ups and everything, like that, when he was vulnerable,
it's just
training.
Exactly. And like in Dragon Ball Z, for example, like all the characters get the more powerful they get, the more hair they get. Like with in One Punch Man, they go well, in One Punch Man, he trained so hard that all his hair fell out. So now
So you are ultra powerful.
So that's it, mate. That's why. The harder I've trained at jiu-jitsu, the less hair I've got. So that's
you're getting some power.
That's it's a new excuse for me to use now. Okay.
That's it.
How long have you been doing that for then, Rob?
10 days now. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't run every day.
Do you get like DOMS? Do you get like muscle soreness?
In the legs a little bit, but I mean, so I don't run every day. At most, I'll run every third day.
Yeah.
For the days I don't run, I'm still doing like a 22K walk.
Right. Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah, and I've been doing that since I started doing the push-up challenge. Right, as soon as the gyms all closed down. Yeah. I had nothing else to do, so I just went out and walked around town and kept walking until I was tired, and I was like, well, I think I started at the first walk was 13K, and then kind of now when I go for one of my longest walks, it'll be like 26K or so. Yeah. 5 hours, so
you haven't walked 26K all week.
A lot of trips to the fridge. Yeah. So I mean, after something like that, my ankles, the joints are kind of sore.
Yeah.
My legs would kind of be a little tense, but I've been, you got all day to roll them out before you go in the evening, right? So
10K is a lot of big distance to run every single day, isn't it?
It is. I find it's pretty hard on the knees to be doing that. I mean, I'm not small, right? I've lost weight, but I'm still at 220 pounds. Yeah. So, 100 kilos. It's not really being meant. If you're 100 kilos, you're not really meant to be running that much every day, right?
Well, I don't have the best knees in the world, but just run. If I do a 5K, I really feel it in my knees. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm 85 kilos. So
And the rest.
85 kilos with one leg off the scales. No,
Yeah.
no, 85 kilos.
I'm pretty much bang on 100 now, 100.7.
220 pounds. There you go.
Bang. I want to go. I'm just doing stuff, and then like hopefully I'll be able to stay around there, but like be more muscular and lose some fat. That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
Have you managed to make a 5K yet, Nick, or have you done
Yeah,
it?
I did 5K last Thursday, 5.5. Around here, it's really hilly.
Yeah.
So it feels like sometimes like looking at the my time for what I do. I think I can't remember what it was. It was like 34 minutes, I think, or 35 or 36, something like that, for 5.5K. Which I thought that's all right. There was some serious like gradients in there. At least 3 times I stopped and walked for like 100 meters. So I'm trying to find. I just can't. There's nowhere around here that's flat, and I want to get to somewhere flat and do like 5K flat.
But the more you train on those hills, the better you'll be when it comes to that flat time. So just keep doing it until you.
Yeah, I just like to see what I could do it on flat as well.
Now's not the time to find out. Just keep training on those hills, and then when you finally do, you'll smash it, mate.
Well, I've been trying to find a bike. I don't have a bike, and I'd like to cycle.
Yeah.
I think that would be easier on my like joints and knees and all the rest of it, because I'm the same as you, Panda. I'm a heavy bloke, so it's especially going up and down hills and stuff. Down, I find like super hard, because start off, I've got to go down, and then I've got to go up and down. It's like that all the time. And the down, you're almost sort of like putting more pressure on your knees as you're hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Not too fast. You just want to like keep control. And so that's a bit of a killer.
Well, the more controlled you are, the more force you have to push into the ground, don't you, to slow yourself down? It's like deceleration. So like you're just slamming force into the really hard to stop yourself from just running or falling or whatever. So it's a lot harder on the joints.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Bike. I want to get a bike, but it's like I'm not super up on what's what in bikes, what you're looking for, what you want to get and stuff.
Penny farthings, mate, I hear.
Yeah, I've got one of those. I thought, like, my cousin said a gravel bike could be good. It's like in between a road bike and,
never heard of them.
Yeah, it's like they race them in the States on gravel, basically, these bikes. That's where they got their name from. But they're basically a hybrid bike, road bike, and like in between a mountain bike and a road bike, but more towards road bike. So slightly thicker tires and stuff. Have you heard of these things, Rob? Have you heard of these things, these gravel bikes?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like, I haven't heard of that term, but I think it's kind of like it's kind of the bikes that I had as a kid, where it was like, it's not a full-on mountain bike, but it's meant for kind of both, but it is more of a mountain bike style with a thicker tires and whatnot.
I had type thing.
Yeah, like I had like a road bike when I was growing up that was the thin tires and the kind of the bullhorn kind of like the curved handlebars and stuff. And then I had like
I want one of those.
Yeah.
Handlebars and a really low seat.
Yeah. Oh no, not the high ones, like the low one where you had
like a road cycling.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you can go real fast on the road when you had a properly paved road, but I was in a small town, so there was a few roads where it was kind of painful to be on, right? But so I know what you're talking about, like the thicker kind of mountain bike tires on something like that. I've seen stuff like that around. The ones who have the really thick, big, like they're the mountain bikes that have like the really thick tires.
Yeah,
but those look kind of fun around here. But I haven't. I looked into bikes a while ago, and out here there's such a big bicycling culture that all these top brands and stuff are like thousands of dollars, and I'm like that's not something I want to just go and pick up for the weekend kind of thing.
No,
Right?
that's right. They are.
I was looking at these things, and I haven't had a bike. I bought a second-hand bike about 10 years ago for like £80, and then like rode that, and then stopped, and then it's sort of like fallen to bits. And I was looking at how much these things cost, and bikes are expensive. Like, and I get it. Like, there's all these different bits on them now, but all the brakes are completely different. You can have the the brakes and this stuff. It's not like the pads on the wheel anymore. There's all sorts of other stuff, which is fine. But you kind of like, I phoned up a bike shop today that I near where my mum and dad live, and I was chatting, and they're going, "Oh, you've got this one here. This is probably what you want. It's about 1,100 quid." I was like, "No, I don't want that.
No.
It's better than this one." And I was like, "Well, what's that one?" They're like, "Oh, that one's 600. Okay, well, have you got anything more like 400? Like what?" And they're like, 400. No, don't really make anything. And you're like, what? Like how? What? Because I want. The only reason I was thinking of getting like a new one is because I don't know enough about it to be able to buy a second-hand bike and not be fleeced in some way or something wrong with it or something. So that's what I thought with that. But I'd love to get one because I think it'd be fun where I live. But it just seems so much money.
Yeah,
it is. That's why. And then you got to maintain them. You got to keep them that way.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm gonna get back on the rowing machine.
Yeah.
But rowing machine, I can't do. I can do like maybe 10 minutes on the rowing machine, going relatively, and I'm dead. Like the rower is way harder than running.
The row is hard. I love the rowing machine.
It's hard, don't it?
I feel like that's a really good conditioning tool for jiu-jitsu. It doesn't because there's nothing else that's quite like full body like that. That kind of gets your heart rate up as high. It's about
as fast as it gets your heart rate up that quickly. Yeah. Like within a minute, you're doing it. If you start doing, like we were doing the how fast can you do 2,000 meters on the rowing machine?
Yep. Like that was a good challenge for our gym, actually. That was a good one.
That is a savage challenge. I think my best was 7:30, 8 or 6 or something like that. Yeah. And that sounds, when you say that back, it sounds like pretty poor. Because the first like 30 seconds you're going, this is easy. Look, I've gone like 500 meters already. Yeah. And then, however long it is, like a minute or so, you're doing that, and you're like, this is all right. And then you keep going, you're like, man, this is so hard. And the time just keeps going faster and faster and faster. And you're like,
I remember I was doing it and I was killing it. And I got to like 1,000 meters and I was like, do you know what? I'm not even really out of breath. This is so good. I'm going to absolutely smash this challenge. Got to 1,200 meters and I felt like I wanted to give up. I thought I was going to pass out. It literally just turned on me like that. I think I just went all out. It must have been my adrenaline carried me first the first 1,000 meters. And I just fell off a cliff and then my time just went straight out the window.
Well, it's so hard. But I reckon you've seen Simon Fannin on the group chat, like guy at gym, and say he's just got a rowing machine. He's saying that he has done like sub 7 minutes before on there. He's a secret, likely fit guy. I reckon
he's a big unit, isn't he? He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big guy. But then he's now under 100 and getting on like 98 or something. He was like he's going back down to 90 kilos.
Yeah.
And he's running now, and I saw on Strava the other day, I was at Simon, so just another 5K in like not that long, and you're like, he's obviously been super good at this stuff before.
Yeah, done some stuff before.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, because I was trying to do the rowing thing, and I was like, not really, I've done rowing as a warm up to lift weights, not
as a workout.
No, that's just like, right, if we get a bit loose, get the heart rate going, right, that's enough. 3 minutes or something.
What's your preferred method of kind of training for jiu-jitsu, Rob?
I mean, for cardio kind of thing.
Yeah, for cardio.
Yeah, it really kind of depends on what I have available to me, right? Like,
Mm.
I used to do the rower a lot, and stationary bike. I do like half hour on each. Um, I found the row machine was it was good, but it was like for me, it was just the getting the rhythm down, so I'm breathing right,
Yeah.
right? Because like if you're if you're exhaling when you should be inhaling to make it, more of a smoother motion, it kind of just burns out your throat or something, right?
Burns
It's
you
yeah,
off as well, yeah.
yeah. But one thing I've been doing this last year, because I have a gym membership and have the machines there,
Mm.
like they have elliptical, but
Oh, yeah.
the elliptical is it's different. It's like a full range, so it's not just like on the track, almost
Right.
like you're cross-country skiing. This actually, you can do like far kickbacks to it kind of thing, so you can do
Right.
a full open stride, right?
Yeah.
Um, I forget what it's like, AMT or something like that, like all motion trainer or something like that. But
Right.
but that, and then getting on um, a treadmill and doing inclines, just
Mhm.
walking, but kind of having it at where you can uh, like the speed at your kind of like a fast pace, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're not so fast that you're almost running, but
Mhm.
a quick pace anyways, and then just kind of bringing up that incline.
Yeah.
Once you get to like 10-degree incline and walking at a quick pace, it really
So it
kind
gets
of
hard. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
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 I mean, and
Soon.
like so like and you're surprised because you sit there and you walk for half an hour on a treadmill on an incline. Starting off it's nothing, right? You're just
Yeah.
walking, and then you kind of bring the speed up a little bit, get the heart rate going, and then you bring the incline up, and next thing you know, you're sweating and your heart rate's up at 160 kind of thing, and you're like, I'm it's the same as if I'm full out running and I'm only walking right now, right? Because
Yeah.
it's that slow burn increase, right? So
Mm.
it's good on the knees as well, right? Both of those things are
Yeah.
really good on the
Yeah. So
knees.
much better. If I ever run on a treadmill, like a flat treadmill, I have to put it on an incline because the flat treadmill seems to just hurt my knees so much worse than if I put it on a slight incline. I think it just promotes me getting more on my toes rather than like
Yeah.
doing heel strikes. So it's less impact on my knees. But yeah, I don't really use the flat treadmills too much. More row machine if I'm going to do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back to. I'm gonna have to go back to the rowing machine. I think the running, like, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's just that going downhill and
You're right. I've
all the
got a
stuff.
bike sat in the shed, but I've gone running for some reason. So I think I might have to dust my bike off and get that out. It'd be so much better for my knees.
Is that the same? Is that your bike that you use all the time?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
used. It hasn't even come out of my shed since the lockdown.
Really?
And I literally bike everywhere. So
Yeah.
when I go to work, I bike to work and back, and I haven't used it once. Maybe this is my break from work. I associate the bike with work. So now I'm not working.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting the bike out.
I think it's actually really funny. Throughout this whole lockdown, that's one thing that's been pretty constant is the jiu-jitsu scene just kind of bashing on running, right?
Yeah,
Because everyone decided to try and pick up running to keep cardio up, and then
yeah,
realized it kind of sucks. So
yeah.
I think it's good to do once in a while. Um, just because it is different, right? Like you
It
do
is.
have to put your body in motion and deal with the train and the weather and stuff. So you know, uh,
There's also a bit of a skill to it, I find, like getting the right kind of like the right motion with your legs, like running like
yeah,
efficiently rather than just you're not just kind of chucking your legs in front of one leg in front of the other. There is a way to be a little bit more efficient find like sometimes I'm like when I get tired, I'm just really lazy and just kind of throwing my legs in front of me, and that's probably why my knees hurt. I bet if I got a better gait, it would be a bit easier on the knees. But I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing when it comes to running. So
Well, it's funny because I was like, right before I started running again, I was thinking about it, and my friend had posted some articles about the slow shuffle, right? Because like that's the thing, is that it's all about pacing yourself and kind of just kind of going with the body rather than trying to get new times every time they go out, right? And her and I were talking about how, yeah, I mean, like when we were back when I was doing like training for half marathons and stuff,
yeah,
my friend was telling me all about the slow shuffle, and that's kind of what we're working on, right? And so like when I first went out for a run, that's all I wanted to do was sit there and do a really slow shuffle. I think I ran for 2 hours, and it was 9 minutes a kilometer kind of thing. It was really slow pace,
yeah,
right? But all I cared about was just getting the body moving, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I mean, and that's one thing I think I found jiu-jitsu helped for running was before just getting through a 5K or and it was difficult, right? We had like those mental walls to deal with, I'll just stop here, I'll just stop there kind of thing.
yeah.
But now, like my first run, I went out and did 13K. It took me 2 hours. It was slow, but at no point did I say, "Hey, this sucks. I'm going to stop
Yeah.
and
Do you
walk
think there's
home."
do you think there's something in like doing jujitsu, something that's that hard,
Uh,
kind of transfers over to things like that? Because I feel sometimes the same. Like when you're doing a workout or whatever, something gets really hard, it's very easy to just be like, oh, I'll give up. I just can't bother to do it anymore. But there's something in me that kind of is a bit like, keep going. You can't give up now. Like you just
yeah,
push a little bit harder, a little bit further. I think because you don't get given that option in jiu-jitsu, do you?
yeah,
You have to fight it no matter what until that
yeah.
buzzer rings. That's it. But like it kind of transfers over. Do you think there's something in that?
I think there is. Like I made a post a while back, one of my first run, about that on Instagram. But I was thinking that maybe just after traveling for 2 years and just kind of getting beat up all the time and training jiu-jitsu for the last 9 years, you're just used to that kind of grind, right?
Yeah.
um like I can tell you, like those 2 years of traveling, a lot of those roles people weren't going as light on me as they would their normal gym friends, right?
There's something in that, isn't there? I think I read something the other day. It's like when people come into the gym, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
because you don't want to take it too easy on them because you don't know if they're
yeah,
going to be some absolute wizard, but then you don't want to go too hard, but then it ends up being quite a tough role for someone who kind of
yeah.
enters a straight.
You
And
don't play each
especially
other's games either, do you? So
yeah,
That's
every time you go, it's like one of those times when people are like, right, I'm just going to work it out. It's a bit more like a competition stats type role because you've got to be a bit. You don't just sort of fall into the same thing you're going to do,
yeah,
because you don't know what they're going to do.
I
And
guess you're kind of testing each other as well, aren't you? Like see what they've got, like, and they're doing
yeah,
the
yeah,
same to you.
oh,
What
I'll
have you got?
start from the beginning, see what he does, and then
Yeah.
I'll see what, or I'll just go straight for my thing.
Yeah. Where's he
yeah.
at?
And,
Is he tough?
Mm,
Is he one of those hard rollers? Is he a light roller? Is he? You
yeah,
don't know. So it's all like. Whereas I
yeah,
guess when you're with your regular gym crew, you know what they're gonna. You kind of know their style at least a little bit, so you know what they're gonna do and how they're gonna react. But yeah, when
yeah,
someone new comes in the gym, it's not. There's all that. So you can't go too easy. So that must have been hard.
yeah. And I mean, different cultures, different personalities.
Mm,
An easy role at one place might not be an easy role at another place, kind of thing.
yeah.
And like, so yeah, you learn not to take that personally, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
learn to kind of deal with it and roll with it, right?
Yeah.
So when you used to that kind of grind, training jujitsu for all those years, and you go back to running, because I haven't ran any long distance since I went for my blue belt. So that was like 6 years ago, and I started running again now, and suddenly it wasn't so bad, right? So
the difficult is slightly different though, isn't it? Because the difficult thing with running is it's all on you, isn't it? Like it's kind of like a mental battle for yourself. Whereas I guess in jiu-jitsu, you've got someone putting the pressure on. You kind of like, ooh, like you fight back. Kind of,
you can just react as well, can't you? I like to. I don't like running at all. So it's a lot easier to push on in the thing where you like anyway, and you think, well, I can kind of do this or that. I might do that. That's a break doing that. You know, you can kind of game the system while still sparring. You know, but you can. You
talking about Mark again.
But you can in running. You just got nowhere to hide, have you? At all. There's nothing, and it's
and there's no one else pushing you, right? And that's the thing. Like with, you know, if you're running and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna tap out. I'm just gonna stop here. You know, it's not like there's anyone there bragging how they stopped you, right? So there's no real push to keep you going. So it's a lot of it is on that mental wall, right? On that mental drive. But I don't know. Maybe I just see it differently because I'm used to running. Because I used to run before and I had to run a lot in the military and stuff. It's not really a big deal for me now. I kind of get into that kind of meditative state that runners high, and I find most of that time I'm running, I'm just thinking about drilling techniques, or, you know, what's the first thing I'm going to teach when I get my class back, or, you know, what you know, replaying old matches or rolling with friends and stuff. You know, what are they working on? What you know, and kind of like go through game plans, and, you know. Can't wait to the session again. And now I'm just, someone's running, thinking about jiu-jitsu, and next you know, it's been, you know, 10K kind of thing, right? So
that's it.
I reckon it's got to be easier running with someone else, maybe, because like
depends. It's got to depend on if they're at the same pace. I've run quite a few times with my wife, but like she's a lot slower than I am, or she was. She's faster now.
I don't believe you.
So I'd run on, and then I'd kind of wait for her, because you're supposed to be running together, and then you're kind of not. I'm getting rested, so I'm fine. But for the next however long we're running for, and then Vix is trying to keep up with me, so she's trying to keep probably a higher pace than she's used to. So she's knackered. So it's you have to find someone on your level if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, it's just I put my headphones on, and that's quite good. At least I have to listen to something when I'm doing it, and then I'm like, I keep going, come on, just giving myself markers, like get to there, then you can walk for like 30 seconds or whatever. But sometimes your brain just goes, no, stop. Like that. Oh yes, I've got to stop now. You know, you reach the point of, you know. But that's why I find it when there's turns in the roads and stuff, that helps me, because I had this one bit and I was running just straight for like 2K. I could see it. It's like, it's not getting any nearer. It's still miles away. What, you know, I'm never going to get there without having to stop. So it's kind of maybe it's, I don't know, your brain plays tricks on you, doesn't it? With sort of, to stop you from doing it.
But it does that in rolls as well. When you're really exhausted, you're like, and someone puts on, like, even if it's a loose choke, you're like, is it?
You're like, yeah.
Am I going to have to tap? Am I going like, it plays tricks on you where you know you can escape and you know what to do, but sometimes because you're so tired, you're just like,
Yeah. Like if someone's just has that really good top pressure, or
oh god, yeah,
they're like ace kind of conditioning, just spinning circles around you.
Yeah.
And you're just getting so tired trying to defend constantly. Yeah. And it's like, I just think I want to give up right now. I've had a few roles actually. One comes to mind with Governor BJJ in Toronto. He's like very good on, like, you know, like when he's working his team, it's about like, okay, keep up the aggression for competition, because just doing a nice easy flow for this technique isn't, someone's going to stop you, right?
Yeah.
And I rolled with him, and it felt like a 10-minute roll. It's probably only 5, but at one point I was just wanting to give up because he had burnt me out just defending over and over and over. Everything's just chained, and I remember he's on knee and belly or something. He was on top position, and I'm just kind of like, okay, it's enough. And he's like, keep going, move, and now he's coaching me to move, and it's like, I was like forced moving to get into positions and defend. And I was, by the end of it, it was just like, I was so dead. I was so tired, and it wasn't like I felt like, oh, he beat me up with his jiu-jitsu so well. It was like those boot camp workouts you see online and stuff. That's what it felt like. He put me through the ringer just for like, for conditioning, right? Like,
That's
you wanted to tap before there's even a submission, right? It's like,
there's a guy, Andre, one of the coaches at Carlson Gracie here in the UK, and he, I remember when I was a blue belt and I was rolling with him, and it would feel like I'd feel okay when I was rolling with him, but it was only when the round stopped that I felt like I'd just come out of water, like, when you've been held underwater for ages, like I hadn't breathed for the entire 5 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever the round was. And as soon as it stopped, I'm like, it's like I'm absolutely dead. It's such a weird feeling. I haven't had that. I don't get that with Nick.
Yeah, I've had a few places when I'm traveling where you just kind of click with that gym. And you have some really good rolls like that, and you don't realize until after the buzzer goes off and you're done that all of a sudden, like, all that energy just leaves your body. Like, you realize how spent you were, but you're not concentrating on it during the roll, right?
I think so, yeah.
And but there's other places where it's just, it doesn't click, and that's all you're watching the clock, and you're like,
Have you when you go to different gyms and the gyms that you've been around the world, have you felt like more at home? Kind of some place, have you felt like in some places like, oh, do you know what? If this was where I lived, I would train here rather than, like, not calling any names out or whatever, but just like some places you're like, I'm not. It was nice to train somewhere different, but I'm not quite feeling the vibe or whatever. Do you think is that a thing? Like,
yeah, definitely, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure I've covered this a few times, but this the people always ask me about that, right?
Yeah.
So the way I try and explain it is, there's always like a club that is a bit more aggressive, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have a town and there's more than one gym, there's going to be one gym that's a bit more aggressive than the other, right? And so like, and there's always going to be a gym that's a bit more centered around the camaraderie of that kind of like jiu-jitsu family, right? Not always, right? To different degrees, but like whenever I've been traveling and gone to cities and checked out different gyms, there's usually a couple of gyms that I'm like, these guys are a lot of fun to train with, and it's not so much as like, I don't like this other gym as much as I'm more of a lazy person. So, I'm not looking for the ultra workout gym, right? But, if like, I have friends who are definitely like all about heavy competition and whatnot, and I know that gym would completely appeal to them, right? So I'll pass that on to them, kind of thing. Like, hey, if you're in this area, you check it. You'd really like this gym, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
We all have our own kind of preferences, right?
Yeah, maybe that's what you first started learning as, because because our kind of like we train at a Carson Gracie gym here, and it's like they're kind of known for having like quite hard spars and hard training, and I quite like it, but I don't know whether that's just because that's all I've known, or I don't know. I'd have to find out when me and Nick do some more traveling in there.
Yeah. Like it's kind of weird because I mean, when I first got into martial arts in high school, I mean, it was on an army base. We had a pretty standard warm up, and a lot of meatheads coming through the door. But as far as training went, it was pretty loose, right? It was kind of had a lot of aspects that today, if I was to pick a gym, I probably wouldn't want to deal with those kind of people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had, an amazing coach, an amazing sensei back then, right? That really got me into this kind of stuff and kind of showed me the what was out there for groundwork, and it wasn't just standing there doing kata, right? We're actually like our warm up was like doing round robin, like fighting basically, right? Like we had no gloves, we just sat there and
that sounds like a good warm up.
Yeah, it was beating the crap at each other. Then we go to the ground for a few minutes and wrestle for a few minutes, and then stand up and switch to another person, right? And like, on top of doing like shuttles and push-ups and sit-ups and stuff. And it was
you might actually get purple belts to do warm-ups if that was the case in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. but like
warming up, always warming up.
But yeah, like today, like when I'm going around and checking out gyms, I think it's more about how the gym kind of receives me, right? Because there's some gyms I've been to that are top-notch competitors, but it's almost like they treat visitors just as business. So I guess I don't know if maybe the team is so used to people coming in, they're just kind of like, oh, new person, whatever, and you don't get a lot of like welcomes, right? Where I've been to other gyms where it's just they're always that they show you they're very happy to have you there, and thanks for being here, and that's when you actually get approached by the coach or to say, hey, welcome to the gym kind of thing, that makes a big deal, right? It makes you feel like you actually are welcomed at that gym, as opposed to just
definitely
you're just there, right?
I think when someone like I think we said it before on these podcasts, but like when someone comes to the gym, it's quite a big deal, and like we quite like, so nice to have like other people come and train with us, because it's like someone new to train with. It's good, and you're all interested in the same thing, so that barrier is like broken. But I don't know whether that's just because we don't get loads of visitors coming in, like new people starting, but visitors from different places, not so much. So it could be, couldn't it? Whereas, or maybe another thing is that if they are a competitive gym, maybe you've gone in there when there's a competition coming up, so maybe tensions are quite high and they don't have time, maybe, or got more stuff on their mind that they're not like interested in greeting a new visitor. They're just there to focus on their training due to competition coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's different, right? It's just like rolling, right? Like how people kind of perceive, like meeting new people is different, right? Not everyone is extroverted and wanting to, come out and say, big hug and welcome to the gym kind of thing, right? So. And also, when I was traveling, there's also like culture and language barriers, right? I remember you guys kind of asked about Russia before.
Yeah.
But, I didn't tell you. So when I was in St. Petersburg, no, when I was in Russia, I remember I was in Moscow. Yeah, when I was in Moscow, and I went to the one gym I was there for, Chetmat, Moscow. I've been talking with the coach the whole time, and he was, very welcoming to have me come out to his gym.
Yeah.
Had it all set up. Problem was, he was away for, it was a competition, I think, or something, but he was away, so he wasn't going to be around to greet me personally. So when I got there, there was like they're inside this giant mall on the top floor, and it's like a fitness gym, and they have this huge room, matted room in the back for it, right? And but he had that notes at the front desk, so they set me up and it was all good. But when I went in to go train, I think there was just like white belts and maybe 2 blue belts, and like it was a blue belt. I think it was his brother that was teaching the class,
Right.
and he just went into teaching, right? And it was all in Russian, right? And so I'm used to, at this point, of doing classes in other languages, just kind of following the actions, right?
Yeah.
But there was no like introduction. There was no anyone coming up to me and talking. And so we trained for like an hour and a half or so, and then we started rolling. And it wasn't until we started rolling, someone came up to me, and I think the first person, he was American, that was like Russian family or there for work or something. And he started talking to me. And as he's talking to me, as we're rolling, the other groups around us are hearing, they're listening. And, so then they start talking in their broken English. Like, oh, you're here. And what it came down to, it was like, that stereotypical cold Russian kind of attitude. It was, they weren't very confident with their language to talk to me.
Yeah.
So that no one had done that, like broken the ice. Like, I don't know any Russian.
No, it's hard. You can't do anything. You can't break the ice.
Yeah. So I'm kind of just, and it ended up being a great class and talking. Like, we all hung out, and one of the guys, I ended up with him all the way back to the train station, and exchange contacts to see if I'd be around to hang out later on. I ended up actually leaving like shortly afterwards, but yeah, it ended up being like, it wasn't that no one liked me being there. It was that no one knew how to come out and say hi.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess the biggest icebreaker was the role.
Yeah.
I think we may have mentioned it before when one of our guys went out to Mexico, and he said that everyone was a bit cagey and no one really was talking. It could have been a language barrier thing. And then as soon as they like bumped fists, tapped hands, and started rolling, that was it. They were like best mates.
We went to Rio Grappling in Poland, in Wrocław in Poland. Me and SGY last time we went out there, and it's in like the biggest leisure centre like you've ever seen in your life. It's like like these, those industrial like roofs like that, like just this huge long like street of them in there, and it just looks like nothing from the outside, but goes like it's just huge, like a few of these huge. So what you do is you pay at the reception. We went to that open app, and you go and you're like, oh, like Rio Grappling, and they're like, yeah, like pay like here, and you're like, oh, okay, and they're like, so I'm down there, like left up the stairs, like really like, and we were like walking around. I was like, what is this? Like it's like put on by the leisure centre. So we found our way out there, and like sort of you poke your head in, you're like, oh, okay, it's Rio Grappling on all matty, everything like proper. Area that they obviously rent, but inside the leisure centre, or maybe they don't rent it, they just put it together like that, but you pay it at the desk sort of thing, and you just rock up. And we just sort of went in, no one said anything to us, nothing at all. We just sort of like warmed up, did some stretching like that, and then the obviously there was a few black belts there, one of them like sort of turned up like a bit later, and like he started doing the clock, and their open mat was just 7-minute rounds. Just like till everyone finished. Like no one sort of says anything. Like he's just like that, boot presses the button like that. And then like just like over here like this to someone, and then everyone else can see like looking around, like no one's picked us, so we roll for like the first round sort of thing. Yeah, we want to play as well, kind of thing.
Mm.
And then it's the 30-second break, then 7 minutes again, and then just did that for like an hour and a half or whatever. And do you know what I mean? And then we started chatting to one of the guys like at the end. They usually, after you roll with them, they're a bit more like, if they know some English, then they'll say like, "Oh, where are you from?" You know, da da da. But breaking the ice by the roll, like you say. One of the guys was just like, he was like, "Yeah, I train at another place, but I always come here because I haven't got a class on a Saturday." So he said here is like just everyone from everywhere comes here on a Saturday because it's literally open to every gym, every affiliation. Anyone can come along. You don't talk to anyone. You pay. You come along and you train, and then you go whenever you like. It was kind of weird, like 'cause it was really quiet, like most of the time, apart from just rolling, and then people sort of like you, like for the next, and then you sit in front of each other, like waiting for it to get the clock to tick down, ready for the 7 minutes to start again. And then it's like, okay, you know, like it's really regimented, like not like an open mat, you know, we would have on a Saturday, lying on the side, like.
Yeah, that's it. Chat for half.
For a bit, then I might roll for a bit.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird. Some of them, I think it's cultural. I think it's cultural a lot of the time. But they're pretty much. And I know if you've got very finite time, it's like, right, get in, do my training, go again. Like, you know, that sometimes you have to be like that. But yeah, it was slightly like, should we say hello to anyone? What do we do? Oh no, everyone's just getting on with it. Should we get on with it? Like, if you're waiting for an invitation to do something, it's not forthcoming, you know.
Did you have any prayers like that, Rob, when you were traveling?
Well, usually, like, there's not too many gyms. I can't actually think of any gym that I went to without knowing someone, like talking to someone. Yeah. Like there's places that like I always sent messages ahead, right? And so if I didn't get anything back, then I'd kind of make my schedule around the gyms that I did get the hear back from first, right? It's kind of like the more you seem appreciative of having a visitor, kind of puts you higher up on the list to go into, right? Yeah. I know some places just they're busy, or you know, they're not good with that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So like even when I went to like Hodger Gracie's, like I already had friends that were there that just from talking to Globetrotters and whatnot.
Yeah.
So but like something like that, you know, it's a big name gym. You know, you're not really expecting much more than just to be there. Like, you know, I went there on a random night and ended up like AJ Agrazan was there, like just hanging out. And I'm like, and it was right after he had just gotten slapped in the face.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was kind of funny. But yeah, it was, you know, so something like that, you know, like I'm not really, when I go to a big name, when I go down to San Diego and I go to Hiberos or whatever, like I'm not expecting, you know, much of a welcome because, you know, they're a big name, they're used to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, when you go and you're at small towns or, you know, and you're again sending like emailing these gyms, you know, they're gonna welcome you out. So they're kind of expecting you. I don't like just walking into a gym.
No, I don't think that's it's.
Then that, you know, then you're asking for them to kind of interpret that as a dojo someone, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, should they be expecting those hard rules? Because you know, they weren't expecting you, right? So
great.
I think, you know, because like 95% of my visits were me being expected to show up, it wasn't so bad with just walking in and having no one talk to you. But there were a few gyms and it was mostly, I think, because of language barrier, that not really knowing how to come up and say hi kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Japan, there's a lot of, I'd get a hold of the gym, and through broken English they say yes, come train, but not everyone there is gonna be like, oh hey, nice to see you, kind of thing, right? And that's because then if their English isn't that well, like I had a conversation with someone in Japan where they shared, they told me they're like, oh, like they're sorry, my English isn't very good. And I think they worded it in the way that they're not proud of their English.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds very Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not. They don't think they're not proud. They're not proud of English, so it's not. They don't think it's good enough.
It's almost like an insult. Like they feel like it's an insult to you.
Yeah, I think that's what they were thinking.
Your language broken.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, it's all good. Like, this is how you get better at speaking English. I'm still trying myself. So
just that I can come in and train.
Yeah,
that's what I need. That's all I need.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few gyms where I talk to the coach or whoever, and I come in. The rest of his class is timid and you're just kind of on the sideline, other than talking to the coach. That's about it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just dealing with different cultures and different languages and whatnot, different personalities.
I think that's probably one of the most nervy things about going to a new gym, isn't it? It's that kind of like being a bit like, the awkwardness of the first. But I guess you kind of get over that pretty quickly. It's not...
But no, sorry, real quickly. When I was in Scotland, this made me laugh because I was just staying there for a night, and so I found like I messaged this guy like MNBJJ and messaged him because his mobile number's on the website. I was like, oh, can I come and train? Because it said like on the schedule on the website, it said open mat for like I think an hour and then a class. So it's like open mat 7 till 8 and 8 till 8:30 was the class. And for me, that's like the wrong way around. You do the class first, then the open mat after. And I was like, all right, I'll go down. I'll do open mat. I'll see how I feel. Because I was like pretty tired. Blah, blah, blah. And then I got in there, said hi and everything like that. And I was late because the traffic in Glasgow was insane to get there anyway. So I was like 15 minutes late. So people were rolling. And then I was like, I took my like water bottle thing, and there's like no taps there, obviously. So I went in, I'm like, oh, hey, I phoned up. He's like, oh, yeah, Nick. I was like, yeah, cool. Like, how much so? He's like, no, don't worry about it. You can train for free. It's fine. And I was like, oh, is there any way I can fill my water? He's like, no. He's like, but we sell water. Like, I haven't got any money with me. Like, he was like, just, you can just have a bottle of water. It's fine. Like, I was like, oh, fucking hell. Like, is there anything else I can, like, take? Like, I was like, it's all right to have a photo as well. Like, is that okay? Do you know what I mean? I've just turned up and I just want everything for free, sort of thing. Like,
you give someone an inch and they'll take a mile.
Take a mile. Like, but it was really good. But then it was kind of weird because you like roll like an open mat, and I rolled. So lots of people can't speak. I know you want to roll, that sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, rolling. Then it's like, oh god, this is difficult. And then it's like a class, and it was a big long warm up, like lots like running up and down the middle, everything. And it was really long. It was like a bit like Tunbridge's, like long, but a bit longer than that. And so, do you know what I mean? So every bit you were doing up the middle took ages. And one of his mates turned up, and he was like chatting to him over there, and we just kept doing like different movements up and down, just following the I think there was a brown belt like who was kind of leading the so we just kept going all the time. I was like, hell, like how much? And he just rolled for an hour, and then we did positional for like 45 minutes at the end, and that was really cool. But I'll tell you, I was absolutely ruined when I left, and I put it down to like being overexcited and a bit more adrenaline-y, by rolling at the beginning. then having to do a massive warm up, I was a bit like, oh god, not ready for this. I was kind of wanting to do a bit, and then I was training with a guy who was one of those ones that's like, he's like, get the reps in.
Oh, I like those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are great, but like sometimes, you know, when you're a bit like, right, yeah, cool, like these like that. You know?
You're like, yeah, they kind of forget that. Yeah, they kind of forget they're dealing with a person, so you're just like, you're getting beat up more from doing the drill than you are from rolling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
is that
everything put their feet and hands like hurts.
Yeah.
It was good though. But I just felt like, I was like, when I left, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't realise there wasn't going to be any taps or anything. We don't, because I don't think there's that many. Like, I mean, apart from Rogers in London, that his new gym looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, the facility looks amazing. Most gyms, I'm sure there's more like the MMA ones that have jiu-jitsu and stuff as well, with, you know, really nice looking facilities. But most jiu-jitsu gyms are like, they're not, you know, they over here are much more like kind of like, oh, I guess that's fairly novel, you know, as opposed to like your San Diego's and stuff where, you know, it's like a ton of people come through every day. Like, you know, it's much more here. It's like, oh, someone new, you know, like, so people are probably more likely over here to be like, oh, hey, hi, you know, like, because we don't see many people. But I think we're probably like, or at least we're at least a decade behind the States from a kind of like development side of things.
Oh yeah, it's
like at least
gyms and stuff as well over here. It's the same. Not quite there yet.
But you know what I mean. So like over here, we're a bit more like the small towns that you were saying about, and so like it's quite interesting to hear. What I can imagine, you know, if people are professionals and they're training all the time, you go to something like that. It's kind of like you're just getting in the way. It's like, oh, what? I'm training. You know, I'm training. This is my job. I'm competing. I'm doing this, that, and the other. I can see that, but that makes it only even harder, doesn't it, to try and integrate into a class scenario? Because you kind of think, well, look, if you're training like that, like, go and do it when the rest of us aren't here. Like, all you lot together, and you just do that, and we'll have the bit where it's just normal people who don't train 8 hours a day.
Well, yeah, they mean like a different, like a competition class versus a normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to a few places where they have that competition class. I don't know if I've jumped in a few of them, but usually I try not to, because it's just another level of fitness, of athleticism that I just don't have. And I mean, I could, you know, make it through the class, but then I'll be burnt out and I won't be able to train the next day, kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like that after like days of hard sparring. If I've had a really hard sparring, like the next day I have to take it easy. It's too,
especially with a few of the guys, like you know, obviously there's levels and everything, but you know, you're talking about like Harry's and Luke's and people like this at our gym. There's some really, really, really good guys, black and brown belts, who, you know, sometimes I think like, oh God, I've got to go as hard as I possibly can to give him a workout, rather than there's no point me being like, I've got to try my absolute hardest, otherwise I feel like it's a pointless waste of his time.
It's funny you feel like that. I think we've discussed this before, but it's funny that you feel like that, because
well, you try and do.
Don't feel like that when you roll with a white belt, do you? You don't.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe I don't know. It's just I just think like kind of owe it to people like higher grades to give them your best shot, like for whatever they.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but with those guys who are like athletic as well, because they've got more of the package, i.e., like they do the strength and conditioning, the cardio stuff more. Like you just got to go that extra bit to try and. I think I don't know how they feel. Might be good to ask some guys like that.
I'm sure it feels exactly the same to them as it like does when you roll with like a lower belt or someone, you know, like a blue belt or a white belt. It's probably
just look at me with complete disdain. So like the fifth time you get tapped by something, like, and then they're just looking at something else, like thinking about having what they're having
Having
for
a
dinner.
chat with someone else.
Yeah. Who was it you were saying, Sam? Who had someone in their garden and he was just doing his finger tape like that? Like.
Yeah, so it was about 9 years ago, and second degree black belt. He'd just come over from Brazil, Marcelo Copper, and he came down to teach a class at Ashford, and we were still in a tiny church hall at the time, so all the mats we'd all laid out, and one of our guys, I think he is the head coach of Kent club here, Dave Borton, had just got his purple belt. So we hadn't seen it. I was a white belt. I was still getting taught by blue belts. So when someone got a purple belt, it was a massive deal. And I'd rolled with Dave, and Dave would just annihilate me. So I was like, I can't believe he's this good. And if he's this good, he's better than my coaches. This is amazing. And then this guy came down, and as he was rolling with him, he was like, just literally doing his finger tape. So he had a guy in like the diamond, like ready to set up a triangle. And like this guy's purple belt, he's like, he's trying to get out this diamond. And as he sat there, he's just doing this. Like tape on his hands. He's trying to get out at the hardest. I was like, whoa. That's when I kind of realised like the different levels. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I never saw that before.
Is Marcelo Copper, is he the guy that does a lot of the reffing?
He is, yeah. I think he does. I think here now he teaches the refs courses.
See, he was at the English Open, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
But the guy with the tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like you wouldn't mess with that guy anyway, would you?
No. He's really nice though. He's really nice. He'd always be like, nice. Like,
yes, nice.
Nice. I've been tapped out about 4 times by that guy over there, and he'd be like, nice.
He's trying with his English. Shout out Marcelo Copper.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's levels, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some gyms I've been to where I'm rolling with the coach, with the black belt there, and you can just tell, like, from day one they've been all about like being the best competitor, and you're like, there's no way you're the same rank as this other black belt, that I've been trained with. Like, there's just it's a different awareness, right, of rolling, and just setting up games and whatnot, and you just getting completely
thinking
crushed.
about what he's going to have for dinner later on that evening.
Yeah.
And you're like trying your hardest to fight him off.
Oh, I know this technique works.
Yeah.
He's like, I know that one. I've got 12 counters for it. I just like try this one and then I'll move to that one.
Are you in my head when we roll, Nick?
Hey?
Are you in my head when we roll then, just there?
That's I've not seen 12 counters from you, Sam.
Because I haven't got 12 counters. 3 at the most.
3 at most. That's all you need. Three's good. Who was some of the roles you got? Have you got some memories of some super good roles that you had at different places with anyone recognisable or?
Yeah, I'd say one of my my top, one of the top places I would just love in the world to go to is Yuki Nakai's open mat.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So you know Yuki, right? From was it Roll or is it Choke? Where he fights Hickson with the one eye.
That's it.
Yeah. So Yuki Nakai is highly celebrated in Tokyo and in Japan, right? Being like the first jiu-jitsu black belt there. So his open mats, everyone else kind of schedules their gyms around his open mats. So I've been there, and like there's been black belts like who run other gyms, like 3 different black belts who run other gyms there at his open mat.
Cool.
judo black belts from the Kodokan come down.
Wow.
Sasa, she's a two-time world featherweight champion. She was underneath him.
Wow.
I think I forget where she trains now, but she was his student, right? She got her black belt underneath him. So she would hang out there. I think I fought a sumo wrestler there once.
No way.
There are just all kinds of people there, right? So just being there is a lot of fun. The last time I was there was an American, Sonny. It was just before he got his black belt, so he was, getting ready for a competition at a brown belt level, and there's a guy there from Finland, I think, Norway. Anyways, and they're both brown belts rolling, and pretty high level competitors, and they're just there like going through some things off on the side while there's other black belts over here, and yeah, just a lot of, and then it's people from all different levels, from like the old timer black belts that are just kind of doing it for hobby out there. Yeah, so I had a lot of great roles there.
Yeah, awesome.
But I went there for a class, and so there was only like maybe 3 of us. There was 2 like white belts and myself, and Yuki is teaching us these little tricks for doing arm bars inside the guard, right? And and I actually have videotaped it, and I have some awesome memories of that I still can bring up of Yuki, how he isolates the arm to do these arm bars, right?
Wow.
And so then they're off drilling, and there's 3 of us. So Yuki just kind of looks at me, and he just looks at them drilling. He's like, "You want to roll?" And I'm like, sure. So here I am, blue belt me rolling with Yuki Nakai, like living legend. And he just, it was, I remember being in his guard and being able, like, defending and countering. I'm like, I'm about to pass his guard, and all of a sudden he was on my back. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. I passed his guard, and now he's on my back. Yeah. So, cool memories like that.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
With Globetrotters, actually, one of my favorite memories with Globetrotters was the Iceland camp. I went to the first Iceland camp they did.
Yeah.
And as it happened, just purely by coincidence, Carlos Machado was there.
Oh wow!
How he explained it was, his student was getting ready for a competition, but he didn't want to, and he was going on. I think it was Carlos going on the vacation? I forget, but they were going on vacation, and they didn't want to quit training, so one of them convinced the other one to come with. So they both ended up in Iceland, and they're like, well, we'll get a hold of Gunnar Nelson and go train at his gym. And they were at like the open mat, and as they're at the open mat on the weekend, they overheard that Globetrotters are coming in and we're doing the whole week-long camp. So they decided they'd jump in on that.
Yeah.
So Machado was there teaching a class one day, right? And the Saturday, I think it was like the last day of the camp, the gym opens up like an hour later than usual, and everyone like coming in early as it was, just to get ready and warm up. So I walk up to the gym, and the gym's not open yet, and there's like 50 people outside waiting for the gym to open. And like what has happened like the entire week, people kept thinking I was like a local.
Oh.
I had my big red beard and covered in tattoos, and everyone's like, yeah. So Carlos sees me, he's just like, here you are, my friend. You ready to open the gym? And I'm like, no, Carlos, I'm not from here. I told you. And he's like, oh, okay. So we're all just standing around, and I noticed that he was standing in the middle of this crowd, and there was like this circle around him of just like people staying away. and no one's speaking to him, right? And
Yeah.
he's just standing there like bored, waiting for the gym to open. So I was like, this is, you know, my proud moment where I'm just like, I'm gonna start a conversation with
Yeah.
like, and, you know, and I'm like, hey sir, like pretty loudly, I'm like, hey sir, so you train Chuck Norris, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you have any cool stories about training with Chuck Norris? And he just instantly goes into these stories about being a stunt guy on Walker Texas Ranger, and like
Wow.
Chuck Norris like choked him out like unconscious doing retakes and stuff. And oh yeah, it was hilarious. It was an amazing moment. That
White belts. Hey.
yeah. And it was a amazing moment. It was not even in class training. It was just like one of those things that just like that happened as everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and it all kind of comes together. Next thing you know, you're here with standing next to a legend talking about another martial arts legend.
Yeah.
A story on them just training or whatever that you'd never hear about, right?
No, never.
Cool opportunity, right? So,
yeah, you've got to go up and you've got to, haven't you? You've got those opportunities. I'll always remember. I remember back a long time ago when I was a massive John Jones fan. I think it was definitely before he won the title, and we went to a UFC event in London, and we went to the bar, and it was him and Thiago Alves were at the bar, and I was like, oh, I've got to say hello, and then we were like, oh, can we? Shall we? Do we want to stand? And they wouldn't have come to like the other bar if they didn't want to hang out with the fans. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure they had a private bar somewhere that they could have gone to. But I didn't do it, and I always regret it. I always regret not getting a photo or like anything with John Jones or Thiago Alves.
If I was there, you'd have got a photo. 100%.
I know you would have pestered someone, wouldn't you, to have got that photo? Now I've got a thing. If I want to see someone that I'm like a fan of, I'll go and talk to him.
Yeah. Have you been to a camp with Chris Houter, Rob?
Yeah. I've been in a couple camps with him. Yeah. He's a riot. He's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah. Like his class is you go. He does like the kind of the same 2 or 3 different classes all the time, and you go not because you're gonna learn something new. I mean, once you've been to one of them, right? He has awesome techniques, obviously, but it's also the show, right? The whole, because he talks a lot and he has a lot of funny things he says, and so you're there just to be in the presence of Chris Hutter and watch him go on, right? So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like that whole famous speech that he did was at a Globetrotters camp. I think that was the first main camp. I think it was actually in New Hampshire. We did the whole big speech about, it's not about who's the best, it's about who's left kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great speech. And then you realize like that's basically how he teaches. Like, he has all kinds of these great speeches that he does, right? But he's also a riot to be around, and he gets into all kinds of rants. And I guess the Globetrotters have a drinking game about if he mentions aliens or whatever. And so.
Yeah, I can picture it. Because I think he often descends into monologues, doesn't he, about whatever, and sort of forgets that there's like 50 people standing around him, like waiting for him to show some jiu-jitsu or something. And he's reminiscing.
Great takedowns though, right? And it's kind of funny how to him is like the way he's teaching it is he does his big monologues into, guard pulling versus throwing your opponent to the ground kind of thing. And you're laughing away and think it's great, and then you start drilling the takedown and realize maybe you needed that break because this is a pretty brutal takedown, right? This leg is taking the person in their head or whatever. Yeah.
Kind of like when that's like we were talking to Callum who runs a charity for sports mental health the other day, and he was saying when he was he was a professional athlete for a while, and he was sometimes be hoping that there'd be rain, which meant they couldn't play. And it's kind of in between those like techniques where you get absolutely ruined, like just drilling the techniques and stuff. You're like just waiting for them to go time and come back and go, oh, thank God. Now, please, if you could just talk for another 10 minutes and so I can get my breath back and get ready for the next thing.
You're just looking for questions to ask about the technique of drilling.
I'm going to ask a question.
Can I see that again, please? Wait, what exactly is your left? What is your left foot doing on this here?
Oh, very interesting. You're like, is it? No idea, mate. I'm trying to put
That's
off.
What you do during my classes, Nick.
You
ask so many questions.
I don't ask a lot of questions in your classes because I've seen the technique so many times.
Oh, hurts.
No, I keep coming back, so I've got to hone them. I've got to hone the technique.
Is it? That's why I keep going back over them.
Yeah, you have to. Some of the I'm just trying to work out if I'm going to be able to afford to go to the Zen camp in October or not, because it was so good.
Go at that point.
Yeah, if it's an option, I'd like, because I really enjoyed that, like the whole thing last time, which wasn't last year, the year before I went, and
I imagine it's just about being able to afford the ticket now, because travel should be dirt cheap, right? Like
£850 or £860. So I don't know what that is in dollars or whatever, but it's a fair bit.
Yeah. Because I was talking to my friend that does the free rollers. His next camp is supposed to be in Singapore in like mid August or something like that. And I remember back when he was first planning it, I looked at the tickets last summer, and it was like $2,000 to fly over to Singapore from here. And then we were talking about it. I'm like, do you think that's still going to go on? You think you're still going to be able to do it?
Yeah.
And then I just casually looked at the price for tickets, and a round trip ticket that used to be $2,000 or more is now $700, right?
Wow.
So it's everything's pretty cheap right now for flights. It's just about whether or not you're allowed to go.
Yeah.
And
I really enjoyed it. I really did have a good time, and I'd 100%. That was one I'd recommend. Because they got all the sauna stuff there. It's like that $10 million or $15 million karate facility, which I still think must be some kind of tax dodge. Like the Karate Federation have built this out in the middle of nowhere in Poland, and it is unbelievable, this facility.
Do they train the Olympians there or something?
They rent it out to like different like residential groups for martial arts like this. But I'm sure they charge a pretty penny per week for it. For catering as well, and all the staff and all the stuff. But it's just honestly, it's ridiculous. This place in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and there's just this unbelievable training facility. And,
those pictures look awesome. Like, just that's an amazing find. Like finding like this. Like, how do you? That's the love that is like, hey, want to go train at a Japanese compound in the middle of nowhere? It's in the middle of Poland, and like, wait, what?
What? This is what like. So I went on at the time I didn't even have a Facebook account. So my wife went on the Globetrotters group, joined that, and I was like I need to get. It's like 2-hour drive from the airport to get to there. Like, how am I gonna get there? So I was like, anyone driving? So I just got a lift with these two Irish brothers, and so we just met like there, and at the airport. I was like, they're like, hey, you Nick? I was like, yeah. I was like, right, come on, let's go get the car. I was like, this is brilliant, and you just sort of muddle along like that kind of thing. It was really good, and the saunas and stuff. It was just like it was brilliant, I have to say. And like all the instructors again. I think lots of the instructors like going to the camps that have got that are really nice, because it's better for them, isn't it, to hang out and have a nice time. But yeah, I'd like to do that if it's going. If not, then I'll definitely do something next year. I want to do some more. It's a good crowd, and they always have top name instructors. There's always some really good, and they all roll and stuff as well. So I really like the setup.
Yeah, so I found I've been to 6 camps now, and I found actually that's the one thing is the more you go out and the more you interact with the group, the more depends on whether or not how you view this as a plus or a minus. But I know like my last time I went out, because I'd known the instructors a lot better now, they were actually like calling me out, and I was getting rolled with a lot of the instructors, which is great. I mean, that's amazing chance, but at the same time you're also getting beat up by black belts all the time, right? So there's not always an easy roll around, right? It's like I'm just gonna go sit on the sidelines, thanks though, but yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I like that attitude though, that they're open, they're there, they're roll with anyone, kind of, it's not so kind of rigid, old school thinking, right? But I mean, I've been to a bunch of Globetrotter camps. I've been to, out with my friend with the free rollers, and I've also you kind of do a bit of what's it called, the Canadian Jiu-Jitsu Union camps out here. So my instructor, having a background in traditional martial arts as well as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he has kind of brings them both together. So we'll have this weekend get together, and there's a bit of traditional Jiu-Jitsu in different martial arts, because some of the other guys that do other styles will teach something, and then we'll throw in some ground techniques, with Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and whatnot, and have a weekend out of it, have a good barbecue at night, and so I find anyone that's open to doing that, having different schools come train with you and just kind of have a socializing event like that, like a weekend event or a week-long event or whatever, it's going to be a fun time, right? Like they're even if they're not in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they're in the martial arts, into learning styles, into talking and socializing and all that stuff, right? It's always, I find any kind of opportunity like that would be a fun time. Like what is it? The Hibero and Atos do that cruise, that jiu-jitsu cruise.
Yeah, man, that looks crazy.
That's quite expensive, but it does look unbelievable.
Amazing.
There's a few. I saw one as well in on the nice side of Ibiza. There's there was 5 instructors. I can't remember who was going now, but it was it's like $5,000 or something to go. But it's like for a long weekend essentially, but with 5 of the biggest, best names in jiu-jitsu.
I know what the one you're talking
there's
about.
only about 8 people going or something. There's you stay in this amazing villa and da da da. If money was an object, you can get these these guys who are, they're obviously going to go and do stuff like that, aren't they? If you're an instructor, you go, you want to Ibiza for a long weekend and we'll pay you about 10 grand.
That's
Pedro Sauer has his villa as well down in Brazil. He does a week-long camp. I think it's once a year he does it, where you can sign up for 1 week or 2 weeks or something like that. And I was going to go, but there's people here we're all going to go, but then it kind of fell through. No one could really go. And the dates didn't. I was like, well, I was only going to go if you guys are going to go, because there's something else coming up as well. I was pretty close to it, but that's one thing I want to do, is go down to Brazil and go to his villa training. I've seen the videos from it. It looks amazing. I've talked to people who have gone. you know, like there's all kinds of different kind of camps that are out there that they all seem like a lot of fun, right? A lot of just getting together and hanging out and training, right?
Yeah.
That's it. You did one that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Nuki Sam down in Cornwall.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was kind of like an interclub for the different branches of Castle and Gracie in the UK, or mainly the southeast. But yeah, we all went down to like a kind of like a beach town basically. Spent a week there and kind of just trained together every day. I think there was like 3 classes a day. It was amazing. It was really, really good. Big barbecue, like drinks at the end. It was really fun. It was good. I was hoping they'd do another one, but I don't think they did.
Oh yeah, that would be so good, wouldn't it? Like that'd be really cool. Anything like that where you get to
really
go
good.
off-site as such, somewhere different, see some other people that you don't normally see.
Yeah, train with a bunch of different people. Yeah, get coached by different coaches. Different looks. It's great.
Yeah. Would you say Rob? You say what's the kind of would you say the Globetrotters is the sort of best sort of package around for that kind of thing, or is there other ones that you've come across or gone to that?
Well, Globetrotters is definitely like the biggest out there, right? It's basically what he does, right? Is just put together, an awesome vacation package, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the way he's looking at it, right? Like, where's a cool place I want to go and do a vacation, right? And then do some jiu-jitsu around there, and then brings everyone along, and they get the look into doing different sightseeing and stuff, right? Like, if you go to one and you watch Christian, you'll notice he doesn't do a lot of jiu-jitsu. He'll do some of the open mats later in the day, but he's more into seeing the place and kind of hanging out and stuff, right? It's the camps aren't designed for you to be able to hit everything at once, right? Like, it's gonna burn you out. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're okay to deal with large groups, because I mean, we are looking at like 150 people to upwards of 250 people, 300, some of that, a lot of people, right? But yeah, they're all smaller group camps that are out there. There's one in Europe that I forget what that one's called. The guys doing those camps, they did the leg lock seminar and stuff.
Is that the Ben Poppleton and Dan Strauss doing
the
beach summer jiu-jitsu camp or something?
Yeah, there's a few of them, but like and they all seem to be going off pretty well. I mean,
I'd love to do it. If I could afford to do it, I would do it. It sounds.
It's a brilliant concept, isn't it? Like, it's who you don't normally do it with. It's somewhere nice or somewhere warm or something different about it. And if you can do that, that's the only thing. The only thing is price sometimes is because the one Maine and stuff like that, they look really cool. I'd love to go to all these. It's just it's just the flights and things to go to them. You'd have to do some more stuff other than just going for that week, because most of the time it's sort of like 5 or 6 days, isn't it? It's not sort of 7. It's half a day on the other end and 4 or 5 days in the middle. So it's one of those. That's why I've been kind of stuck to the European sort of areas, because that plus the ticket, accommodation, food, and everything. I mean, it's not too bad when you look at all of that stuff and the training and everything else. It was, say £1,100, £1,200. So I don't know what that would be in dollars. Again, probably not that much more in dollars, but like say $1,500 max, probably.
I'm trying to think what for the Canadian. I don't even know anymore, but
neither do I. It's probably worth the same.
Like, for the Canadian dollar, I know like we're pretty low in exchange for euros and stuff, but yeah, it really does. It comes like the travel tickets, like flying over, that's really kind of adds up, right? That's like usually when I'm looking at camp, I'm looking at now how much is it going to cost me to get there, because that's what, you know, is it going to cost me more than to go? Then if it is,
Yeah.
I'm going to go, right?
Yeah.
It's worth it. Like when I went over to
main cost of the training, not the travel.
Yeah, you know, so when I went to Greenland and Iceland, you know, it was kind of worth it, right? Like I was like, okay, this is going to be like probably like a one in a lifetime kind of experience to be able to go to these places that I want to go to anyways. So might as well just bite the bullet.
Go into the mix, and you're like, it's a bargain.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was you know, if you don't want to already go there to begin with, right? Then yeah, you got to look at the price of the travel versus. I mean, it's always going to be a good time, so it's always going to be worth going there for how much the training costs. But you know, if you can get a cheap ticket for travel, then it's going to be all the more worth it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like flying in North America is really expensive, especially because like Canada doesn't have any kind of budget flights, right?
Yeah.
So, what was it we did when we went to the main camp? I took a bus over to Montreal. My friend found a sail to fly across Canada. We all met in Montreal. Then like Valerie drove down from Montreal to the camp, because otherwise it would have cost us all, you know, twice as much to fly into like Bangor and then take a, you know, whatever, like, rent a car and drive up kind of thing, right? So, yeah. Otherwise, you know, if I couldn't do that, I probably wouldn't have gone, because, you know, it was pretty expensive, right? Yeah. Same with like if I was still out on the East Coast for the Arizona camp, I probably wouldn't have gone to the Arizona camp, because flying from the East Coast to the West is, you know, a lot more expensive. Now I'm already on the West Coast, so just going down to San Diego or down to Arizona or something.
Yeah.
I think the next one I might do on my own for a travel is probably just go down to Portland for a bit. You know, there's a bunch of gyms down there and a lot of good friends around the area. But that's just because I'm on the West Coast, right? It's already right there.
You can almost like make your own camp if you've got a few. Say you've got a few friends that you've met them a few times that train somewhere, and there's, you know, you could go down, like a few of you could go down, stay somewhere, you know, have got a little apartment or something, like Airbnb or something for the week, and you could just say, yeah, we're training at these like 2-3 gyms, and you could do there in the morning, that's lunchtime always at that one, and you can kind of dot around, train like that, go out around there, so you can kind of make your own, I guess.
It's kind of the same as starting a gym back in the day, right? You needed someone to take the lead to order those tapes in the mail that you guys would watch and train and volunteer their garage to turn into a gym to train in, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny to think of today, right? But that's how a lot of the gyms started, right? And I mean, it's kind of funny to think of today about Globetrotters, but Christian literally he breaks it down. He's broken it down in a few interviews about it came down to just people wanting to visit and him wanting to coordinate so that he didn't have to host people every week. So he's like, okay, let's get everyone together on agree a time to come visit me kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it just spread from there into what it is today, right? So I mean, really, if you're gonna get, I mean, I guess you might have to be good at dealing with logistics, but yeah, it really just takes one person to really gonna sit there and deal with the logistics of finding places for everyone to sleep.
Yeah, that's not easy to do for that many people. That's like a really hard job.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. And I think
It,
like when it gets to that size, like I think like in Christian says he has like something like 400 things. He has like an itemized list, and he has to go through all of it and check it all off, kind of thing. And if it doesn't meet a lot of them, if it doesn't really get him going for it, then he's just like no. So I mean, it's not just a haphazard kind of process that
No,
he's
it
doing.
can't be.
But I mean, for smaller groups, if you just want to grab like 20 people or something like that, like friends or like my friend Luke, that he's doing real rollers. It's only I think a dozen people at a time, right?
Mm.
So it brings the overhead down on what you need for logistics on, he's just finding the gyms and finding a place to stay. And
Yeah.
then the rest of it kind of falls in. We'll find food. Like there's only a few of us. So it's easier just to go out to a restaurant. For Christian, when he wants to go out to a restaurant, it's basically like, hey, can we rent your entire restaurant out? Like in Heidelberg, they pretty much have to warn the local gym, like local bars. Like we plan on, we're going to be around during these dates. We plan on coming to your bar on these nights. So you probably going to want to have an extra person behind the bar. Like the first year in Heidelberg, we went there, and just during our pub crawl, we found like the bar didn't even have a name back then. It was new, but it had cheap drinks, so we just called it the €4 bar all week. And it only holds maybe 50 people, but then like 100 of us showed up one night, right, unannounced, and you had like one person behind the bar, like, and one server running around, and she's just losing her mind.
Yeah.
Like, who are these people? Where are they coming from? Why? It was. So yeah, and you have bigger groups like that. Food and logistics kind of play a lot bigger part. But if you just want to do like a camp for your gym or like just a small camp, you really are just looking at having someone take the lead and going through the logistics of looking for people to know where to hold everyone and where to go train at, right? When you start going into more numbers, that's when you need bigger gyms and all that stuff. So
it's cool. I like the way it's going like that though, because I think there's obviously there's a lot of demand for doing stuff and traveling and this and that and jiu-jitsu with different people, and because it's not like I don't know what it's like there, but there's not tons and tons of gyms where you can go and train out here, like, and that be okay. Like, you don't want to go to the gym that's like just around the corner, which is essentially someone else's, or 10 miles up the road. That's like you can't really be training all the time with different people and stuff. Not for a little bit. You got to decide where you're going to be and train and that sort of stuff. So those kind of things allow you to interact with instructors from other teams and this kind of stuff and learn, because we all like go, oh yeah, look at that guy, I want to buy the Ryan Hall DVD or whatever, and you look at this stuff, so you want to learn all the stuff everyone's got to say. It's not like a team thing, it's jiu-jitsu, but in terms of supporting and like being a member of a club, you can't do that really. So opportunity when you're going in Europe, I'll train wherever.
It's just so foreign to me, like, because I've never been in a gym that was like that only stick to our affiliates and stuff. Like even when I was doing traditional martial arts in high school, we were pretty open on all that stuff and welcomed other styles to come in. And maybe had a black belt from, was it Kip Too Long? It's like a Korean kind of martial art. It's almost like Taekwondo, but there's a lot of high kicks and stuff. And we had some judo black belts, and we welcome people of different styles in, right? So I've always been in training in gyms like that, right? So like I have a friend or two that are in a gym that's very much like, no, only go and train at our affiliates.
Office.
You know, if you're going, where are you going? You know, well, if you go to train there, you know, you can only go to these gyms, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Kind of weird to me why you do that, right?
Yeah.
I get it, understand. Everyone's got their own preference.
Yeah. I think it's quite like that I don't know in every club, but certainly in ours, it's a bit, you know, it's a bit funny if you go and train with other affiliates and things like that. I don't know. It's just a different.
I mean, is
Is that your family kicking off now, Nick? Is it?
My family, my children are running around completely feral, basically.
Okay, so shall we wrap this up then? I think we've almost been talking for about 2 hours. So
yeah, man, well, it's really good.
Yeah, it's been awesome to talk to you again, Rob.
Yeah. Like, it's great to learn about your experiences and stuff, and hopefully you'll have a nice, pleasant time aboard your ship.
Yeah, hopefully, like you know, it shouldn't be too long or too hard to sail. It's just the weather. Hopefully, it's calm seas out there for the few weeks I'm out there, and you know,
I hope so, man.
Yeah, we'll try and catch up with you when you're back.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Rob.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.